How would our world look if a nuclear apocalypse were to happen today? Imagine for a moment a world devoid of the hustle and bustle of everyday life. A world where time has come to a standstill, where cities once teeming with life are reduced to haunting, desolate landscapes. This is the grim reality we face when we contemplate a nuclear apocalypse. It's a concept that sends chills down our spines, a possibility that is both terrifying and intriguing. Nuclear weapons, with their immense destructive power, have long cast a shadow over humanity. Their existence raises questions about our future, our morality, and our ability to survive in the face of such devastating force. The implications of a nuclear apocalypse go beyond mere destruction. It would reshape our world in ways we cannot even begin to fathom. This question, though terrifying, prompts us to delve into the history and potential outcomes of nuclear weapons. The atomic age began with a flash and a boom. It was the mid-40s, and the world was at war. In an isolated desert in New Mexico, under the umbrella of the Manhattan Project, a group of scientists were about to change the course of history. J. Robert Oppenheimer, the director of the Los Alamos Laboratory, led the scientific team. He was a man of profound intellect and deep passion, a man who would later be known as the father of the atomic bomb. With him was a group of brilliant minds, including the legendary physicist Albert Einstein. Together, they were on a mission to unlock the tremendous power hidden within the atom. The Manhattan Project was a colossal effort, one that demanded an extraordinary amount of resources, manpower, and ingenuity. It was a race against time, a race to harness the destructive power of nuclear fission before their enemies could. In July 1945, after years of intensive research and development, the team was ready to test their creation. The test was codenamed Trinity, a reference to a poem by John Donne, a favorite of Oppenheimer's. As the countdown to the test reached zero, the quiet desert morning was shattered by an explosion of unimaginable magnitude. The first atomic bomb, a device they had christened Gadget, had been successfully detonated. The mushroom cloud that rose over the desert was a chilling sight. It was a monument to human ingenuity and a stark reminder of the destructive potential of this new technology. Oppenheimer, watching the spectacle from a safe distance, was reminded of a line from the Hindu scripture, Bhagavad Gita. "Now I am become death, the destroyer of worlds." The first nuclear weapon, Little Boy, was more than a technological marvel. It was a harbinger of a new era. From that moment, the world entered the atomic age, an era defined by the promise of nuclear power and the threat of nuclear annihilation. The dawn of the atomic age was not just the birth of a new kind of weapon, it was a turning point in human history, a moment that forever changed our understanding of the power we could wield and the destruction we could cause. Post-World War II, the world entered a new phase of nuclear tension. The world had witnessed the destructive power of nuclear weapons when the United States dropped 2 atomic bombs on Japan. This marked the beginning of a new era, one where the potential for total annihilation was a button press away. As the dust from World War II settled, 2 superpowers emerged: the United States and the Soviet Union. With ideological differences and a shared distrust, they embarked on a bitter rivalry known as the Cold War. However, this war was unlike any other. It was a war of ideologies, of espionage, and most notably, of nuclear weapons. In the race for nuclear supremacy, both nations amassed an alarming number of nuclear warheads. The United States and the Soviet Union entered into a dangerous game of one-upmanship, each trying to outdo the other, not only in the number of weapons but also in their destructive power. This was the nuclear arms race, a chilling spectacle of power and paranoia. The strategy that underpinned this terrifying reality was known as mutually assured destruction, or MAD. The premise was simple, yet horrifying. If either the United States or the Soviet Union launched a nuclear strike, the other would respond with equal or greater force, ensuring the total destruction of both nations. It was a macabre form of peacekeeping, a high-stakes stalemate where the price of losing was too catastrophic to contemplate. This concept of MAD kept the 2 superpowers in check, creating a tense balance of terror. The fear of mutual destruction acted as a deterrent, preventing either side from taking the catastrophic step towards nuclear war. Yet, the world teetered on the brink of nuclear apocalypse. The Cuban Missile Crisis in 1962 brought the world to the edge of the abyss, a chilling reminder of how close humanity came to self-destruction. The world had never been so close to nuclear annihilation, and the fear of total destruction was a daily reality. The Cold War may have ended, but the nuclear threat persists. This phrase isn't just a chilling reminder of our past, it's a stark wake-up call to the realities of the present day. The nuclear chessboard has evolved beyond the binary standoff of the Cold War era, becoming a complex web of tensions involving numerous nations. Nuclear proliferation, the spread of nuclear weapons technology and know-how has broadened the field of potential nuclear actors. It's no longer just the superpowers we need to worry about. Countries like North Korea and Iran have become major players in this high-stakes game. North Korea, despite its economic struggles, has developed nuclear weapons and continues to test them, defying international sanctions. Iran, on the other hand, has been under scrutiny for its nuclear program, raising concerns about its potential to develop nuclear weapons. But the threat doesn't stop at nation-states. The concept of nuclear terrorism looms large in the modern world. Non-state actors such as terrorist organizations could potentially acquire nuclear materials and technology. The thought of these groups, who operate outside the traditional rules of engagement, possessing such devastating power is truly terrifying. And let's not forget about the risk of accidental nuclear war. With thousands of warheads still in active service around the globe, the potential for a catastrophic mistake remains. A technical glitch, a false alarm, or even a misunderstanding could trigger an unintended nuclear conflict. The international community has taken steps to manage these threats through treaties like the Non-Proliferation Treaty and the Comprehensive Nuclear Test Ban Treaty. Yet, these efforts often feel like a game of whack-a-mole, with new threats popping up as soon as old ones are addressed. So, where does this leave us? In a world where the nuclear genie is well and truly out of the bottle, the threat of nuclear war is a constant companion. It's a complex and multifaceted issue that requires constant vigilance and international cooperation to manage. Today, the nuclear threat is as real as ever, but it comes from multiple directions. Imagine the unimaginable, a world post-nuclear apocalypse. The nuclear apocalypse, a term that sends chills down the spine of even the most hardened individuals. It's not just about the immediate, devastating impact of the bombs. The aftermath, the world that would emerge from the ashes, that's where the true horror lies. Picture this. A nuclear winter descends upon the world. The countless nuclear explosions would have thrown up an unfathomable amount of dust and debris into the atmosphere, blocking out the sun. The world would be plunged into a deep freeze, with temperatures plummeting drastically. Crops would fail, and the food chain would collapse. Starvation on a global scale would become a grim reality. But the cold is not the only danger. The radiation, invisible and insidious, would linger. Radiation sickness would become a common affliction. Hair loss, skin burns, severe nausea, these would be the mild symptoms. The more severe cases would see damage to the bone marrow, leading to a compromised immune system. Many would succumb to infections they would normally have fought off. And let's not forget the increased risk of cancer, a ticking time bomb within the survivors. And then there's the societal collapse. The structures we've built, the systems we've put in place, all would crumble. Governments would fall, law and order would vanish. In a world where survival becomes the only priority, the moral compass of humanity could very well go awry. We may see a return to the law of the jungle, survival of the fittest. This is not a future anyone would want. It's a dystopian nightmare, a world bereft of hope. The aftermath of a nuclear apocalypse is not something we can bounce back from. It's a permanent scar on the face of the earth, a stark reminder of the power we wielded and misused. A nuclear apocalypse is a scenario we must strive to prevent at all costs. The cost of failure is simply too high, too devastating. This is a game where nobody wins, only survivors left to pick up the pieces of a shattered world. The specter of nuclear apocalypse looms large over our world even today. We've journeyed from the dawn of the atomic age, seen its power and experienced the chilling fear of the Cold War. The policy of mutually assured destruction kept the world on a knife edge, a chilling testament to the power we wield. Modern nuclear threats persist, a grim echo of the past. Yet we've seen the potential aftermath of a nuclear apocalypse, a scenario so devastating it defies imagination. This is not a future we want to embrace. The key to preventing such an apocalypse lies in our hands. Diplomacy, disarmament, and a commitment to peace are our best defenses. We as a global community have the power to shape the narrative of nuclear weapons, to turn away from the path of destruction and towards a future of peace. The history of nuclear weapons is a stark reminder of the destructive potential of human ingenuity, and the future of these weapons is in our hands.